Good evening. This is the agenda for Wednesday, August 19, 2020. I'd like to call to order the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. It is, I don't see the time here, 6:08. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A, Section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, as well as Mayor Curtatoni's declaration of emergency dated March 15, 2020. This meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals will be conducted via remote participation. We will have an audio recording available upon request as soon as possible after the meeting. Tonight on the agenda, the first general business, there's none. Reschedule or withdrawals. One of the cases tonight that was to be heard, 40B 2020-001, which is 34 North Street, AKA Clarendon Hill. I understand they're in the audience. Corey's on hand. And I guess we're going to go for a continuance. Hi, Corey. Good evening.
Good evening, Chair Fontano. Thank you for hearing us again tonight. Unfortunately, we are respectfully requesting a continuance until the September 2nd, as we work with the staff to finalize the necessary conditions for the proposed vote.
Beautiful. And there's going to be a few of them, isn't there?
I think I've heard many pages.
So could I ask the clerk, please, Danielle Evans, to please make a motion for a continuance?
In the matter of 34 North Street, Clarendon Hill, case 40B 2020-001, I make a motion that we continue this to September 2nd.
May I have a second from somebody, please?
Second.
Who was that, Ann?
Second.
Seconded by Brockelman. We'll go around. All in favor, say yay. Ann Brockelman,
Yay.
Danielle Evans,
Yay.
Josh Safdie,
Yay.
and Susan Fontano, yay. Let the record show it was unanimous, 4-0. Thank you. Good luck, Corey.
Thank you.
The second case on the agenda tonight is a new case. It's 374A Medford Street. Would the clerk please open it?
Case DRA 2020-0134, 374A Medford Street. Rachel Murphy seeks a use special permit to establish a bakery, cafe, or coffee shop in a neighborhood residence district with a small business overlay.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So is Rachel Murphy in the audience?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Chair Fontano.
Good evening. So speak to us. Tell us what you're going to do.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Okay, all right, great. So as you may know, I'm in the stage of petitioning the zoning board for special permission to operate as bakery right on Medford Street at 374. So I'm a baker living and working in Somerville. I'm a neighborhood resident of the Gilman Square area. I most recently operated a pop-up bakery. This concept of the bakery I most recently operated as a pop-up in Union Square at Field and Vine for 18 months. So I produced items such as chocolate babka, pretzel croissants, pound de queijo, miso morning buns. My goal in opening a retail location is to expand upon the success of my pop-up by serving a variety of freshly baked breads and pastries to the residents and commuters of the Gilman Square area. My bakery will produce takeaway items in individual and family-sized portions, and when safe enough to do so, hopefully will provide 2 counter spots for coffee consumption. I'll be offering breads, dinner rolls, an assortment of pastries and treats, And as the business grows and the needs and desires of the neighborhood become clearer, I'd really like to expand my offerings to include fuller beverage service, sandwiches, loaves of bread, and other snacks. I'm looking to produce delicious, unique, unusual, and high quality baked goods outside the variety offered by convenience stores or fast food establishments. I don't want to talk everyone's ear off, but I'm wondering, should I go into a little bit about some of the building specifics of 374 Medford Street?
Not necessarily, but I have a quick question. It might
Sure.
answer our question. Right now, that store was an Indian restaurant, and I believe it was one half, and they broke into the other half. So are you only in one half, and there's going to be an empty suite beside you?
No, so this is attached to a small house. This is like sort of a brick box kind of jutting out in front of a house. So the retail location is 575 square feet, and it is divided into roughly 1/3 for front of house and 2/3 for the kitchen. But I am renting the entire retail location at 374 Medford Street.
Okay, great.
Which with our address modification has become 374A Medford Street.
All right, that's what confused me with that.
Okay.
Let the record show also, I believe, I'm doing this from memory right now, that we did receive 2 emails in support. I believe one was from a Mr. Chin and one was from is it Johnston or Johnson?
Sure.
Charlotte, do you know that? Am I getting the name right?
Madam Chair, I do not. Rebecca, might you remember the names? If not, I can check.
Well, just for the record, I wanted the applicant to know we did get some letters, and for anybody else listening in, that we did get 2 letters of support. They were very happy. I guess they attended some of the meetings and stuff like that, and they're all active in the Gilmore Square area. So I don't want to answer for anybody. Does anybody on the board want Rachel to fill in the blanks, or is it pretty obvious to what's going to be happening? Somebody have a question, you can raise your hand, I'll acknowledge you. No, looks good. All right, so thank you for the offer, Ms. Murphy, but we're pretty in tune to what you're going to do. I think your explanation was very good. So,
Great, thank you.
So is there anybody from the public that would like to speak?
Madam Chair, this is Rebecca speaking. I would like to note that Jesse Klingon, the ward counselor for Ward 4, is in the audience and has indicated he wanted to speak.
Sure. Good evening, Mr. Counselor. Jesse?
I think he's there we go.
I'm here now. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of this applicant. I just want to say she has my full support. You know, my understanding is under the old zone, like this is a change of use, and I've had her flyer everywhere around the neighborhood, and essentially the change would seem to me minor, being that it used to be a pizza place and now a bakery. So you know, as far as like any like smells, or she's covered every base in terms of rodents. She has an aggressive plan. So again, being that it used to be pizza, now would be a great addition to the neighborhood, this bakery. I've been working with her for a long time, mainly because of COVID. She hasn't been able to get before you because we couldn't have a public meeting for quite some time. And I kind of held off on the virtual stuff because I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to speak. But we flied pretty heavily, and everyone was pretty up to speed on how to use Zoom and everything. So we had a great turnout. Everyone's very much supportive of her plan. And I can't say enough about the applicant and how much of due diligence that she's done, and that I think she'll be a great addition to the neighborhood. So I hope you will consider her permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to speak?
Madam Chair, this is Charlotte speaking. If I may remind the audience of how to show that you want to speak, there's a way to virtually raise your hand. If you virtually raise your hand, staff will unmute you one by one to give you an opportunity to speak. At this point, I see one person with their hand raised. Meredith Porter, you are unmuted.
Good evening, Mr. Porter.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Good
Hi.
evening.
Hi, Meredith Porter, 104 Josephine Ave. I want to say, number one, as someone who's familiar with Gilman Square and used to live right near there, this sounds like a great application and I'm all in favor of it. Number two, I just wanted to point out that in the new zoning ordinance, there are some requirements for things which should be posted on the city website. And I just wanted the staff to take note of that development review application materials should be posted on the city website prior to the notice of a public hearing. And also, there's another requirement of information, let's see, a summary proposed overview of the development should be included in the staff report, identification of all permits, a zoning compliance review, and also there are details to be included in the staff report if a neighborhood meeting or design review meeting was required. The date, time, and location, a roster, if it's urban design committee members, summary of the issues discussed, and a description of any changes to the development. So I'm just asking that in the future, it would be great if those things would be posted on the city website. But I'm all for this application, and thanks for taking my comment.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair,
Madam
this is
Chair.
Rebecca speaking. This is Rebecca speaking.
Yes, go ahead, please.
I just wanted to note, because this is a use special permit, the standards that are required by the ordinance are actually quite simple. And the staff report contains all the required materials, including a notice of the neighborhood meeting. Design review is not required for a use special permit. And I'm happy to work with any member of the community if they're unable to find those materials at our reports and decisions page.
So Rebecca, are you saying that everything that was required for the use special permit was met?
Yes, Madam Chair, that is what I'm saying.
And what's with Mr. Porter? How come he couldn't find them? Mr. Porter?
Madam Chair, apologies, I had muted him again. Mr. Porter, you are unmuted.
Hi. Yeah, I suggest just review those sections of the new zoning ordinance. If you just search for the word website in the new zoning ordinance, there are only like 11 instances. You'll find the two that I'm speaking of. And I think it's probably just a question of following that procedure. So I think this is general as far as I understand with development review applications and also with staff reports, these requirements. I don't have a problem with this one. I just request that the staff have a look at that.
Well, are you insinuating or just stating a fact that they didn't do what they were supposed to do? It's going to be a long new year, and we're not going to have people jumping
Sure.
up and down. Excuse me, I'm speaking. So what I'm trying to rectify now, and I'll speak to our staff tomorrow, but I want to make sure you understand that if there's something that we have to get back to you on about this, we will. If not, I don't want you to come out at a public hearing and make statements that aren't really all true. I think that's just not fair. And I have to stick up for my board and our staff. So
Yes.
tomorrow, I'll be talking to the office about this and see, and perhaps I'll be talking to you again as well.
Sure.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Hi. I'll talk to you more about this and then we'll go on the record, maybe cover it at the next meeting, okay? Because we want
Yes.
transparency, I understand. But I'm confused, okay, and I want to make sure I understand it as well. I know some new rules and regs and stuff like that that we're all getting familiar with. So I just want to make sure I understand them myself. Danielle, you want to say something? You looked like you were going to say something. You all set?
Well, my kids were yelling at me from the other side of the door, but I do have something to say.
Okay, what
Um,
is it?
I noticed in the staff report there's no conditions, and I recall in the beginning, like when we were talking about the new ordinance and with the new format for the staff report, that maybe there was some boilerplate conditions that we could reference somewhere. I didn't know if those were in effect for this. We've never approved a special permit without conditions, and I feel like there are some that would be standards for this type of approval, and I want to make sure that they're included. Like if it's something that we can incorporate by reference or not.
Thank you. Charlotte, who handled this case? Was it you or Rebecca?
Madam Chair, this is
Madam
Rebecca
Chair.
speaking. I apologize, Charlotte. I did handle this. Ms. Evans, through the chair to Ms. Evans, I worked with Director Lewis, and we were not clear that there were any required conditions for this, but if there are standard conditions that the board feels are appropriate to add, I'm happy to do so this evening, or to provide those to you in order to capture your concerns and resubmit the staff report for your approval.
Well, now, can I chime in, please, for a moment, Danielle and Rebecca? First of all, there's usually about the hours of operations. There might be stuff about the trash. As the applicant explained in further time, she'd like to have seating for 2 at the counter. So all of these things should have been, I would think, conditions of the approval. Hello?
Madam Chair, this is Rebecca speaking. I'm sorry, I'm having a little difficulty with my audio again. The applicant has indicated some of that information. It was not in my working on this staff report. It was not indicated to me that was a requirement of that we were going to require conditioning the hours and things like that. But the applicant is here, has an idea about what those are, and I'm happy to amend those, as I said, either this evening or for further review.
Danielle? What do you have to say?
I'm trying to.
I like to
look up
have
some other.
conditions.
Yeah, I was looking up. I'm trying to look up some decisions of other maybe get change in use projects, just because it's hard to think of them on the fly, like what's relevant. I guess I'm trying to think of other commissions that might have, like, does the license commission do anything with this? Or, because usually it's, comply with, X, Y, and Z, and, what they need to do before they get, the certificate of occupancy, what, I feel like there's usually like a laundry list. I don't know if some of those are just, required anyways. I'm just not sure.
Well, I have a question. When the applicant was speaking, she mentioned a little later on, she'd like a full beverage service. What does that mean, full beverage service?
Madam Chair, this is Rebecca speaking. Would you like the applicant to address that, or would you
Yes.
like to?
Yes, what is she?
Okay.
Rachel
Thank you so
Murphy.
much. I believe I'm unmuted now. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
So Upon opening, I will be offering coffee and espresso. The full beverage service would be an expansion of that to include horchata in the spring, lemonade in the summer, a series of cool drinks as well. But from what I have, from the canvassing that I have done in the neighborhood, espresso is absolutely at the forefront of what people want. So the expanded beverage program would be additional teas and hot and cold drinks.
All right. So soft drinks and teas and coffees.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So I don't, I'm glad, we don't have the whole report in front of us, but I think we always have to have something in writing. We should not leave certain things to chance. So, I mean, I hate to say this, and I'm glad Danielle brought it up, but I don't know about Josh and Ian, what you're thinking, but I would like us to see a regular staff report at the beginning of next meeting. We'll do them quick with all the conditions that we normally have for a business such as this and within this neighborhood. Does that, Josh and Ian, what do you think about this? Josh is saying yes. Ian is saying, Ian, you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
I recall seeing other conditions too, but again, like Danielle, I don't remember them for change
All
in
right.
use.
Well, it's just too bad we couldn't get this rolling tonight, but we can't be hasty and make a mistake like that. So can we ask the staff to get on this and see what's really, go back and look at what certain things are required and have it spelled out in the staff report? And if it's okay with Ms. Murphy, I will have you come back on September 2nd, and we'll get you right early at the beginning of the meeting so you can move along. And if you have any questions as this goes on, when we get our report, we'll look at the conditions. And if you get yours, make sure there's no surprises at the 11th hour again.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
I'm
so
sorry.
much, Chair. I appreciate the chance to address you, and thank you so much for all of this information. This has been very
Thank
helpful.
you. All right. Rebecca, Ms. Cooper,
Yes, Madam Chair, this is Rebecca speaking.
so you understand what we're requesting?
Yes, Madam Chair, I will return to my colleagues and I will have them review this again so that I make sure that I capture the information you're asking for.
Okay.
And my
Thank you.
apologies.
No problem, no problem. So unless anybody here on the board has something else they'd like to request from the board, the planning staff or the applicant, without seeing any hands going up, then I'd like to ask the clerk for a continuance, please, and the reason for it.
In the matter of 374A Medford Street, case DRA 2020-0134, make a motion that we continue this to the next scheduled meeting of the zoning board, which is it September 2nd?
Yes,
In order to give staff to update the staff report, which would include a list of conditions of approval.
thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ian Brockelman. All in favor? Ian Brockelman, yea and nay?
Aye.
Danielle Evans?
Aye.
Josh Safdie?
Aye.
Aye. And Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show, it was unanimous. All four voted in the affirmative. So now, unless there's listed on the agenda and no other business, does anybody else have something they'd like to interject before we call for an adjournment? No? May we have a motion from the clerk, please?
Motion to adjourn?
Second, please.
Second.
Seconded by Ann Brockelman. Around the yoke here, Ann Brockelman, aye.
Aye.
Danielle Evans,
Aye.
Josh Safdie,
Aye.
and Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show we're adjourned. Bye, guys. Have a good weekend.
Bye, everyone.